Vandami Namasami.
वीतराग परमात्मा महावीर को नमन। अनंत शक्ति के स्रोत परम पूज्य गुरुदेव श्री महाश्रमण जी को नमन। Today, in a series of uh, Panch Paramestin, we have discussed about the Siddha, the Arihant, the Acharya, and today I'm going to take the fourth pad, that is Upadhyaya. The term we have to understand, Upa means samipe. Upa samipe means near, close by. So which is always close by. Adhi. Adhi means gyan, knowledge, adhyan. So one who is always close to the knowledge, that person is known as Upadhyaya. Upadhyay is a post, and which is not uh, like post in the householders as well, and some have Jati Upadhyay as well. But this Panch Paramestin Upadhyay is very important and appointed by Acharya and congregation. Nobody can become Upadhyay by himself, though knowledge is most important factor to be an appointment of Upadhyay, but Upadhyay is also very important post in Jain congregation, and it has the fourth place in this Panch Parmeshtin setup. So, Upadhyay, one who has knowledge of 11 angas. There are 12 angas, one is lost, which is known as Drishtivad. Drishtivad was lost, and that Drishtivad contains the knowledge of Purvas. So that Purva, and there are many meaning about the Purva. Purva means the knowledge which is coming through the other tradition, past tradition, might be tradition of Parshva, the tradition of other Tirthankara, but Purvas has so much mysterious knowledge, and unfortunately that is lost. So in the case of Purva, I would like to tell you a small story which Agam is known as Purva because it was the 12th Anga under the inner corpus, means Anga Sahitya. So mainly the Agam is the knowledge of Tirthankar. So at present, we have knowledge of Tirthankar, Bhagavan Mahavir. And Bhagavan Mahavir never took a pen and pencil or wrote anything, or his sermons were recorded like we have cloud, we have recording systems, and also we can save them, we can preserve, we can make a CD or something else. So it was not like that. What Bhagavan Mahavir achieved through his own omniscient knowledge, Keval Gyan, what he has seen, what he has realized and experienced himself, that knowledge was transmuted orally to the Gandharaj. So in the Jain tradition, we have the tradition of Mahavir's tradition, 11 Gandhras. So 11 Gandhras, they first listen Bhagwan's sermon, and then their power was enormous. Being a Gandhar, they had enormous power to save that knowledge in their own memory. No outer chip, just their own brain, own memory. So they saved that knowledge, and that knowledge was transmuted orally, generation to generation, because Bhagavan Mahavir's first Ganadhar, Gautam Swami, he also became omniscient during the time of Mahavira himself. So, Kevali, do not repeat what Mahavira said, because he can see himself, he can experience the same knowledge through his own Keval Gyan. So, Sudharma Swami was appointed as the first Acharya, then Jambu Swami, Prabhav Swami, and then up to Acharya Bhadrabahu, there was all the knowledge of 12 Angas. Drishtivad was there, and Drishtivad contains the 14 Purvas. So that 14 Purvas knowledge was available during the time of Bhadrabahu Swami. But Bhadrabahu Swami, he decided, now it is my time, and I'm quite seasoned, quite old. So let me do a special type of meditation that is known as Mahapran meditation, Mahapran Dhyan. So he started meditating in the mountain series of Nepal. And at that time, Nepal and India was a kind of same country, not a different country. So he was meditating, and all the, the surrounding, the nature, the caves and mountains and river banks, all are supportive aspect, all are the supportive part of meditation and knowledge. So at that time, Bhadrabahu Swami started his Mahapran meditation. Then whole Sangha, they thought, look, this is the one person, this is the Acharya who has knowledge of 14 Purvas, and after that there would be no knowledge of 14 Purva. So what we can do, we must do something. They requested, could you please impart the knowledge of 14 Purva, and then you start your sadhana. Then he said, no, because my lifespan is not so long, because he was a special person and special knowledge, having special knowledge, said my lifespan is not so long. Yeah, I spent so much time here and I couldn't finish my Mahapran Dhyan. Then the congregation requested, no, you cannot stop the tradition of knowledge, which is very important. No tradition will be alive without the proper knowledge. And if there is no knowledge, then it is like a crowd, it is not a sangha. So then sangha is more powerful, and the whole sang sent, if some acharya don't follow the instruction of sangha, don't obey the high command of Sangha, then what is Prayashchit? Then he said, definitely there is Prayashchit, there is atonement. So please send someone who can learn. So 1,000 monks, they started their journey to get the knowledge of 14 Purvas from Acharya Bhadrabahu. And at that time, the 14 Purvas knowledge is not a small knowledge, and it is not like a very easy knowledge. So they started, and after a few, like a small time span, some of them nearly, they keep them out. No, it is not a cup of tea for us. It is not easy to grasp. So slowly, slowly, out of those 1,000 monks, normally only one person, Acharya, Muni Sthula Bhadra. At that time, he was Muni. So he was just one recipient of that knowledge, and he completed up to the 10 Purvas knowledge. And his two sisters, they were also sadhvis, Brahmi, and Yaksha, Yaksha and her other sister. So they came to venerate Acharya Bhadra Bahu, and then they requested, "Where is my brother?" Then Acharya Bhadra Bahu said, he is meditating in the cave of the front mountain. And the both sisters went there, and they saw, oh my God, is no brother, and there is a lion. And they were so scared, and they came back. O Gurudev, might the lion have eaten up my brother, Munistuli Bhadra, because he is not there? And Acharya Bhadra Bahu, he was very much knowledgeable. So he just seen through his knowledge. Oh my God, I thought out of these 1,000 monks, he is a recipient of knowledge. But now he got ego problem. Now he want to show the miracles. So that type of recipient is not a worthy recipient to have such knowledge. So then he requested to their sisters, no, don't worry, go there, your brother is there. And then both sisters reached there, and they saw, yes, Muni Stuli Bhadra was just sitting and repeating his knowledge. And they venerated, did Vandana, and then requested. Few minutes ago, when we visited this cave, there was a big lion. Then he said, it was I. Through the Purva knowledge, I can do different type of Vikurvana. Vikurvana is a technical term. I can change my form as a lion, as any animal or any form I can change, because Purva knowledge is very important. But after some time, when he reached for his new lesson to Acharya Sulibhadra, Acharya Sulibhadra denied, no, you are not a worthy recipient of the rest knowledge. And at that time, he was shocked to know. We should not, being a Jain monks, we should not do such miracle, such changes. And what you did is not forgiven, because this is the criteria whom I can impart the knowledge. I thought out of 1,000 you are the worthy recipient. Then he requested again and again, but Acharya Bhadrabhav denied. When he returned back with all 1,000 monks, and at that time, the whole Sangha again requested to Acharya Sthulabhadra, to Acharya Bhadrabahu, please impart this knowledge. Otherwise, you will be the last person. So please don't stop the chain of knowledge, because this is the stream. When it will dry forever. Then again, on the request of Sangha, Acharya Bhadrabahu agreed, but he said, I will do only sutra knowledge. I will show, I will tell him no meaning, only 10 purvas with meaning, and after that, 4 purvas without meaning, only sutras. So Sangha agreed, and Acharya Bhadrabahu, he was Antim, he was the last person who has the meaning and the sutra of the 14 Purva in this Jain tradition. And after Acharya Sthuli Bhadra, really, Acharya Sthuli Bhadra has 14 out of 14 Purvas knowledge. 10 Purvas knowledge was with sutra and meaning, arth. To suttagame, athagame, sutra agam and artha agam, with the explanation. But the rest four purvas, just he got only sutra. So this is the tradition of knowledge. And slowly, slowly after Stuli Bhadra, and knowledge was reduced and reduced and reduced, and like until Acharya Vajraswami there was the knowledge of few purvas. So this finally these 14 purvas lost. With in the Jain tradition we have little bit bits and pieces in the different part of agamas in Svetambar and Digambar literature, but as a whole package of 14 purva or few purvas is not available. So then rest knowledge of Anga, 11 Angas and 12 Upangas. So 11 Angas, I thought, let me explain a bit which are the Anga, because Upadhyay is one who is venerated as Param Sruta Swadhyayi, Dharma Sangame Acharya Dwara Niyukt, 11 अंग तथा 12 उपांग के धारक, अध्ययन और अध्यापन में कुशल, इन 25 गुणों से सुशोभित उपाध्यायों को विनम्र भाव से पंचांग प्रणति पूर्वक भाव भीनी वंदना. So 11 anga and 12 upanga. So the first anga is, I would like to show you the angas literature is anga suttani, acharang, sutrikritang, thanang, and samavayang. So let me explain a bit, because this anga, so here in this big volume, we have 4 angas. So the first anga is acharang. What is acharam? Why am I explaining? When you have the idea how much knowledge a upadhyay has, and he learned by heart all this, and then he transmute adhyan and adhyapan me kushal. You know, it is very difficult to stay close the knowledge, not impressed by the worldly things, and not attracted by other things. So acharang, one who follow the acharang, nanasa saramayaro. What is acharang? Achar kya hai? Achar means contact. So conduct of monks and nuns. So luckily, this is the sutra where we get the authentic life sketch of Bhagavan Mahavir. The last part, the Acharang Sutra, has 9 chapters, and in all 9 chapters, you know, the eighth chapter is again lost, as is known as Brahmacharya Adhyan. So Acharang is known as Brahmacharya Adhyan also. So Acharang has very important knowledge, and all the German scholar, after their study and metrical study, the meters, the composition of the acharang, they reached to this conclusion that acharang has lost many parts of it. It was not a prose, it was in a poetic form. And many gathas, just they have quarter of it. And some gathas have more than that. And Acharang Sutra is mainly a sutra of Atma. And here, very interestingly, started the sutra that who am I? Koham, and it is like I would like to give you a little flavor of Acharang Sutra. Suyam me Padmam Adhayanam Sattha Parinna Shastra Parigya, the knowledge of Shastra, armament. So how what is there? So Satthaparinna Padmo Uddeso Appano Attitha Padam Atma Astitva Pad. So here Suyam me Ausam Tenam Bhagavaya Eva Makhayam Ihe me Yesim no Sanna Bhavai Puratthimao Vadisao Agao Ahamansi Dahinao Vadisao Agao Ahamansi पश्चत्थीमाओ दिशाओ आगवो अहमंसी उत्तराओ दिशाओ आगवो अहमंसी उड्ढाओ दिशाओ आगवो अहमंसी अहेद्वा दिशाओ आगवो अहमंसी अन्नयरियो वा दिशाओ आगवो अहमंसी अणु दिशाओ वा आगवो अहमंसी. So the jiva, the soul, have no knowledge from which direction I have came here, because this knowledge, the knowledge of past life. So some people they can remember their past life, but so this is the flavor. So ihme yesim no nata नातम भवति अत्थि में आया ओवाये नत्थि में आया ओवाये के अहमासी के वा इवो चुओ पेच्चा भविष्यामि. Again very important question in Acharang. Okay, I don't know from where I came here, and I don't know after this life where I will go, and I don't know after this life is there any life. So very interestingly, this Acharang Sutra is started. And Acharang Sutra is very important sutra because this is the oldest sutra among all the sutra. Because as you know, according to Jain tradition, these agamas was written down first time after 1,000 years later of Bhagwan Mahavir's Nirvana. So if something is written down after 1,000 years later, then it is very difficult to keep a uh, mark that okay, this is the same, because through the memory, and when this started written down, once one acharya, he brought some small piece of um, ginger, dry ginger, which is known as sont. And normally, Jain monks and nuns, they don't keep anything for the tomorrow. They just go for the alms round, collect the food, and whatever edible or medicinal things, just they finish. And then again, they next day after sun arise, they go for the alms round. So this was the Jain tradition. Jain monks and nuns who has five great vows, they have this tradition. So when this was done, and that acharya kept that part of uh, dry ginger somewhere else, and he thought, okay, I'll finish before the sun goes down. But what happened? It was remained at night, and then he thought, oh my God, I should not keep it in the night, and I cannot use if it is not properly taken care. So then, what he did, he thought, oh my God, small things I can't keep in my memory. Then might it will be not good for the coming generation, and the knowledge is going down and down. So then he invited the congregation, and they were the Gani Kshama Shraman. he first time with the with congregation and those renowned monks and nuns, they sat down, and whatever in their memory, they just took note down it. So if we see that some part is lost, yes, it is lost. And when we see the actual body of the sastra, actual body of acharang was huge, but so many things were forgotten and lost. And in that congregational part, Digambar scholar were not the part of it. Might they couldn't reach, might they couldn't want, or might not invited well. Whatever happened, it is still a question. But they rejected total Jain Swetambar Agamas. So in that condition, they wrote their agamas, their sastras from their memory, but they say that this body of agamas is not reliable according to that tradition. And then the tradition was split into two, Svetambar and Digambar. So Acharya, who appoint Upadhyay, his main duty is how to keep the tradition alive, and their way of teaching was enormously good, because teaching itself is a art. One who can teach very easily, and he can give the knowledge in such a way that everybody can understand and grasp. So this is the very special quality of an upadhyay, that he can transmute the knowledge for the coming generation. And then second thing, he himself is knowledgeable, and he is the person upon whom the whole sangha banks, because the whole sangha understand that this person has responsibility to transmute the knowledge of sutra. So acharya has lot more administrative work in the sangha, because about the chaturmas, about the appointment of sadhus and sadhvis, and their yatra, and the whole welfare of the congregation and discipline of the congregation, everything is taken over by the acharya. And this monk who is designated as upadhyay, his main work is to keep the knowledge, the flow, the stream of knowledge flowing in the sangha. And then he spent his time, more and more time, not in the public, not in the other things, just he is totally dedicated towards the knowledge. And he impart the knowledge that is known as vachana to other monks and nuns. So this, the Acharang Sutra, many monks and nuns, even they learn by heart today. So Acharang Sutra is mainly a sutra of conduct, and previously, until the time of Acharya Swayambhav, as once I narrated that how and why this Dasvaikalik Sutra composed, might I will again repeat in somewhere else again, but I can say before the Acharya Swayambhav, this Acharang was as a new monk, a novice monk initiated into monkhood. Monks and nuns first they start their study with Acharang, because Acharang is the lesson of conduct, how to live, how to walk, how to stay, how to, everything was there. But when Acharya Swayambhav like compiled out of all agamas this Dasvekalik Sutra, and when the compilation was there, then it is very systematized and easy. And then nowadays after Acharya Swayambhav, or after the said demise of Muni Manak, the whole Sangha requested, please keep the Svekalik Sutra. So the Svekalik Sutra is very important for the novice. Otherwise, Acharang was the sutra for the novice. So in Acharang, first time we get about knowledge about Sadjivani Kai. The earth is living itself, water is living itself, and fire is living itself, air is living itself, and the mobile and immobile creature. So all these Sarjivnikai, the knowledge of Sarjivnikai, you know, it is very, very difficult. If you ask water is living itself, then people understand, yes, many living beings in the water, many insects in the water, and many creature, they depend on the water itself. So Acharang has the explanation and a detailed explanation of Prithvikai, Apkai, Tejaskai, Vayukai, Vanaspatikai, and Traskai. So this knowledge itself is a knowledge of omniscient. If we see water, we cannot spot, okay, water is living, because water is something which we use in daily life, and fire is living, then earth is living, plantation. Now science has taken a role, and after the lot more research and development, the plantation world is living being, accepted as a living being. But before that, there was not such a knowledge. But in Jain Agamas, so Acharang is accepted as the knowledge, the direct knowledge of Bhagavan Mahavir, and this knowledge is transmuted centuries and centuries, generation to generation. We lucky enough, then we owe lot more to Acharya Devardhi Ganik Shraman, who compiled and who written down this agam, and that's why we have this agam literature within us. So through Acharang, lot more explanation of ahimsa is available in Acharang. Panaya Vira Mahavihi. The ahimsa is the like main path, main road, Rajmarg. Those who want to walk on the path of non-violence. So Bhagavan Mahavir given lot more training to monks and nuns, which is also available in. And also the last chapter, which is known as Upadhan Shrut. Upadhan Shrut. Upadhan again is a technical term. Upadhan means kind of fasting and kind of penance. And you know, Bhagwan Mahavir, during his Chadmastakal, for 12 years, he was in the in a uh, state of meditative mode, and due to lot more long meditation, he did long fasting up to 6 months. And many other fastings. So, fasting and meditation was the main power of Bhagavan Mahavir's penance and sadhana. So, Acharang Sutra is an evidence that yes, Bhagavan Mahavir meditated a lot, and all these 13 years of his before the omniscient knowledge, he was used to meditate a lot, and that's why his way of meditation and his way of fasting was really so high and different. So this is a brief introduction of one anga, and then second anga is Sutra Kritang Sutra. Sutra Kritang Sutra is again very important because here we can get the knowledge of Jaina philosophy, and also it is very important from the knowledge of that time. During the time of Mahavira, many other religious opponent and proponent were there, and some of them, like Mankhali Gosala, he was the Acharya of Lokayat Mat. And then other acharyas also prominent at that time. So 363 types of philosophical schools were noted down in the Sutra Kritang Sutra. So in that context, it is very, very important agam, and many philosophical aspects were discussed deeply in Sutra Kritang Sutra. And interestingly, very important, a life sketch of Bhagwan Mahavir, which is known as Virastuti, which was composed by Sudharma Swami. And Sudharma Swami seen him directly. He was the direct first disciple and first acharya of the Jain congregation. So that's why the Sutra Kritang is also very important sutra, and in those who are interested to, yeah, like they can't read Sanskrit, they can't read Prakrit, they can't read Hindi, then it is again very important information that Herman Jacobi translated Jain Sutra, and he interestingly in translated Acharang Sutra, Sutra Kirtang Sutra, the Svekalik Sutra, and Uttradhyan Sutra, and also Kalp Sutra is also translated. And nowadays, lot more English translation is available specifically from Jain Vishwabharati, Munisri Mahendra Kumarji Swami, Munisri Dulaharajji Swami. They also worked a lot, and Munisri Mahendra Kumarji Swami, he is still working in India, Mumbai. So Agam translation is, so Acharang is translated in English by him. Then Sutra Kritang is also translated by his late father and he himself. So many agamas are still under the translation, and few other translation also appeared from the different other sects as well. So those who are interested, they can have a real flavor of the Prakrit language and Prakrit agamas. So today I discussed mainly about the two angas. Why I would like to explain, because without understanding who is that Upadhyay, how much knowledge he carried. So Upadhyay is really very important position in the Panch Paramestin and for the Jain congregation and keeping the tradition of knowledge alive. So I pay my homage. Om Reem Namo Vajjayanam. And those people, they feel, oh, knowledge is not easy for us. They can do every day Om Reem Namo Vajjayanam Mala. So Upadhyay is really a very, very important position in the Jain congregation. I pay my homage, and those who have participated in this lecture, if they have any question, and in my next might be, because this Upadhyay part is bit long, so I will take one more lecture. So this would be first part of the Upadhyay, who is an Upadhyay, and then the next, I think, due to this Anga Suttani and Upanga Suttani, all this literature which is carried on tradition to generation. So I'll take the same topic, who is an Upadhyay. So all the participants feel free to ask any question related to Upadhyay. Om Reem Namo Vajjayanam or Namo Vajjayanam. Om Arham. No question? You can unmute yourself and ask me if you have any question. Bindi, do you have any question? Asbai?
I'm fine, Mandam. It was quite knowledgeable.
Vandami Naman Swami. Sorry, I don't have any questions because I joined in a bit late.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to recap on your lecture.
Yes, it is available on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.